Imagine stepping into a world where colors glow, scents drift through the air, and every corner looks like a dream. Today we are touring flower gardens, from a hanging rose terrace to a neon bloom conservatory, filled with winding paths, bubbling fountains, and butterflies everywhere. Stay with us for the best spots to photograph, the quiet corners perfect for a picnic, and one secret garden that will make you feel like you have walked into a fairy tale. Number 17. Dubai Miracle Garden. Like a jewel box glowing in the desert, Dubai Miracle Garden is a dream you can walk through. It opened on Valentine's Day 2013 and quickly became a favorite for couples who stroll beneath heart-shaped arches and stop for photos. Designed with romance in mind, the garden also amazes anyone who loves bold visual spectacle. Spread across about 72,000 square meters, it is one of the world's largest flower gardens. Around 150 million blooms cover the grounds in giant sculptures that demand your attention. A showstopper is a life-size Emirates, a 380 aircraft with its frame hidden beneath more than 500,000 fresh flowers and plants. Walkways curve beneath rows of floral hearts, while giant topiary characters stand like figures from a storybook. Some corners feel like a cartoon come to life, with immersive zones that recreate beloved characters and childhood scenes. More than 120 flower species grow here, from rare roses to deep-hued petunias. It reads like a living museum of blooms from around the world. What makes this oasis remarkable is where it sits, on dry, arid land in Dubai land, and how it survives. A modern irrigation system recycles water, and each night, roughly 750,000 liters are returned to the soil to keep colors and scents alive while conserving precious resources. It is beauty and engineering working together. The garden won a Garden Tourism Award in 2015, but awards pale beside the site itself. Millions of flowers, bold sculptures, and quiet corners where people reconnect. If you want to feel awe in the heart of the desert, this is the place. Number 16. Keukenhof. Like a painter splashing color across a green canvas, Keukenhof comes alive each spring. Located in Lisse, Netherlands, the garden feels like walking through a living painting. It covers 32 hectares and is planted with more than 7 million flowering bulbs, including 800 varieties of tulips, daffodils, and hyacinths. Rows of flowers stretch as far as you can see. Paths wind through carefully planted beds, quiet lakes reflect the sky, and old beech trees rise like guardians. Inside the park, displays change constantly. Every week brings new indoor shows and bold floral arrangements that stop visitors in their tracks. From raised viewpoints, you can glimpse the endless fields beyond the park, tulip farms that spill color to the horizon. Keukenhof opens for only 8 weeks each year, drawing more than 1 million visitors. For the brightest, most spectacular blooms, aim for mid-April, when the tulips are at their peak and the garden truly sings. Number 15. Kew Royal Botanic Gardens. Kew Gardens breathes like an old, wise city of plants. Located in southwest London, its story began in 1759. The garden covers 320 acres, crisscrossed with paths, flower beds, and ancient trees. It earned UNESCO World Heritage status, and you understand why the moment you step inside. More than 50,000 living plants call Kew home, and scientists travel from around the world to study them. Visitors come to look, to smell, and to slow down. The estate is famous for its grand glasshouses and bright seasonal displays. In spring and summer, colors sweep across the lawns like a slow, living painting. Enter the palm house. Its iron ribs and glass panes rise and curve like the shell of a giant sea creature. Inside is a warm, humid world. Tall palms and orchids reach for light, creating a small tropical rainforest in the heart of the city. Nearby, the Temperate House stands proud as the largest surviving Victorian glasshouse. Rare plants from Africa, the Americas, and Asia fill its galleries. Leaves and blossoms unfold like stories of distant places. Climb the treetop walkway, and you are 18 meters above the ground, moving through the tree canopy. The view is quiet and bright. Birds dart between branches, and the leaves whisper in the wind. From that height, the garden looks like a living roof. Close by, the hive hums with sound and light. More than sculpture, it is a sensory portrait of honeybees. Sounds, patterns, and a pulsing glow hint at the busy life inside a hive, and standing near it you imagine the tiny, tireless workers beneath your feet. Kew also holds official honors. It is Grade 1, listed on the Register of Historic Parks and Gardens. That status means it is protected, celebrated, and preserved for future generations. Number 14. Nong Nooch Tropical Botanical Garden. Like a living painting in the sunlight, Nong Nooch Botanical Garden feels like a place where nature meets art. Spread across about 2.4 square kilometers near Pattaya, Thailand, the park welcomes visitors with wide lawns, sculpted walkways, and carefully shaped trees. Every corner holds a surprise: colorful flower beds, trimmed hedges, calm ponds, and themed gardens that borrow styles from different eras and places, from a 17th century French layout to a European Renaissance section, and even a Stonehenge replica. In Dinosaur Valley, life-size concrete T-Rexes rise among tropical foliage, a playful contrast of past and present. The plant collections are remarkable. Walk beneath palm canopies, admire more than 600 native and hybrid orchids, and explore bonsai displays that look like tiny forests. Specialist areas highlight cacti and succulents, palms and topiary. Daily cultural shows bring movement and sound. Traditional Thai music, dance, and martial arts performances run every day. When you want to rest, cafes and lodging are located inside the ground so you can stay and soak it all in. The park is large, so bring wheels if you want to see more. Rent a bicycle to follow the winding paths and discover hidden corners. Move slowly, and you will understand why so many visitors fall in love with Nong Nooch. Number 13. Longwood Gardens. Longwood Gardens in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania feels like a living poem. Covering more than 1,100 acres, it was shaped by Pierre S. Dupont and open to the public as a place of beauty and care. Step inside the Grand Conservatory and you enter a glass cathedral. 4 acres of warm, humid air hold thousands of exotic plants and orchids, and seasonal displays shift like scenes in a film. Outside, the main fountain garden takes the stage. This 5-acre, Italian-inspired theater has more than 1,700 jets. At dusk, the water dances with lights, and the performances feel both precise and magical. A 600-foot flower garden walk leads you through changing color: spring bulbs, midsummer blooms, and autumn's soft palette. Nearby, quiet pools mirror luminous blossoms. You will see about 100 varieties of water lily and lotus, each leaf and petal a small miracle. Beyond the formal gardens, meadows and woodlands open like a breath. Wide fields, walking trails, and ancient trees invite a slower pace. In every corner, Longwood blends art, science, and calm. It asks you to stop, look, and remember how bright the world can be. Number 12. Peradeniya Botanical Gardens. Like a painted paradise under a green sky, the garden welcomes you with calm and color. Massive trees, bright blooms, and quiet paths slow your pace. The air tastes fresher here. You breathe more deeply, and the city slips away. The Royal Botanic Gardens, Peradeniya, sits about 5.5 kilometers west of Kandy, Sri Lanka. Spread across 147 acres, it shelters more than 4,000 plant species, with surprises at every turn. In the Orchid House, glass and soft light showcase hanging blossoms in red, pink, yellow, and white, each a tiny, perfect jewel. Nearby, the giant Javan fig unfurls an enormous canopy, shading roughly 1,800 square meters. Standing beneath it, you feel both small and strangely steady. Avenues of palms march in neat royal rows, forming an elegant corridor that pulls you deeper into the garden. Steps here are like brushstrokes across a living painting. Special zones for Sri Lankan healing herbs and spices recall centuries of traditional medicine. Earthy scents rise from the soil, warm and soothing. Spend a few minutes at Peradeniya, and the rush of modern life falls away. Whether you come to photograph, to study, or simply to sit, this is one of Sri Lanka's most restorative places. Number 11. Villa d'Este. Villa d'Este perches on a sunlit slope in Tivoli, just east of Rome. Built in the 16th century for Cardinal Ippolito II d'Este, the villa feels like a stage where water performs. Terraced steps descend from the house as hundreds of fountains spring to life, all fed by gravity and clever engineering. Walk along a 100-meter avenue where small jets leap in time. Listen as the organ fountain turns water into music, an astonishing feat of hidden pipes and air pressure. Further down, the Neptune fountain erupts with force, the grand heart of the lower garden. Cypress silhouettes and magnolias frame the terraces, and jasmine scents the air as you move through shadow and light. The whole place blends bold architecture with playful water displays, a living poem of stone and flow. Today, the Italian state preserves Via d'Este as a museum and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, inviting visitors to see how art and engineering can shape a garden into a spectacle. Number 10. Brooklyn Botanic Garden. Once a forest and rocky farmland, the Brooklyn Botanic Garden opened in 1910 and became one of New York City's quiet treasures. This 52-acre park is an oasis amid the city's rush. Paths wind through specialty gardens, and thousands of plant species live here together. In spring, the cherry esplanade steals the show. Planted over decades, some from early 20th century exchanges with Japan, their blossoms turn the Japanese hill and pond garden and the cherry esplanade into tunnels of pink and white. In spring, petals drift onto reflecting ponds and line winding walkways, as if the park is moving in slow motion. Cherry season usually arrives in late March to early April, weather permitting. People flock here for hanami-style viewing, picnic-like gatherings beneath the trees. Families, friends, and visitors pause for photos and performances that honor the tree's ties to Japanese tradition. Beyond the cherries are many small worlds. The Cranford Rose Garden is a riot of color and scent. More than 1,000 rose varieties climb arches and fill the formal beds. Each bloom begs to be photographed. Wooden bridges cross a calm pond, waterfalls add a steady, gentle sound, and stones and trees are placed to calm the mind. Every corner tells a small story. In an hour, you can move from bright, bursting color to peaceful reflection. Visitors return again and again because the garden offers wonder and rest. Number 9. Jardin Majorelle. A jewel of cobalt in the heart of Marrakesh, Majorelle Garden stops you in your tracks. Jacques Majorelle began building the garden in 1923 and worked on it for about 40 years. It is small, barely a hectare, but the colors feel enormous. That famous Majorelle blue coats buildings, walls, and pots, making every green leaf and bloom glow brighter. Winding paths pass more than 300 plant species, towering cacti, dense bamboo, and sweeping bougainvillea. The plantings are staged like film sets. Each turn reveals a new frame. At the center sits Majorelle's old studio, painted the same vivid blue. Inside, North African artifacts lend a quiet, mysterious history. By the 1980s, the garden had fallen into silence. Yves Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger rescued and restored it, reviving its colors and spirit. Today, the garden feels like a living painting where art and nature meet. Visitors drift slowly, as if watching a short, rich film. The blue, the plants, and the quiet paths linger long after you leave. Number 8. Gardens by the Bay. Gardens by the Bay feels like a glimpse of the future. You step into wide, clean spaces where steel meets greenery. The park covers 105 hectares along Marina Reservoir and looks more like a movie set than an ordinary city garden. 2 massive glass conservatories anchor the park. The Flower Dome, the larger one, houses plants from the Mediterranean and other dry regions across 5 continents. Seasonal displays shift constantly, and the cool, bright rooms make every bloom feel miraculous. The cloud forest is misty and cool. A 35-meter man-made mountain rises inside, with one of the world's tallest indoor waterfalls pouring down its face. Ferns and orchids cling to the rocks, and the mist softens the city noise outside. Then there are the super trees, vertical gardens that seem from another planet. Each reaches 25 to 50 meters high. Walk the OCBC Skyway, and you float among leaves and blossoms. The super trees generate solar energy and host over 160,000 plants, proving sustainability can be bold and beautiful. At dusk, the lights come on. Garden Rhapsody turns trunks and canopies into a moving musical light show. It feels cinematic, like the city breathing color. Floral Fantasy is quieter, focused on floral art and hanging gardens. Sculpted blooms and unexpected displays invite slow wandering and quiet awe. Gardens by the Bay is different, a futuristic garden that blends nature with daring design. For many visitors, it is Singapore's top attraction. Number 7. The Butchart Gardens. The Butchart Gardens began as one woman's dream and a rocky pit. Over more than a century, Jenny Butchart transformed that old limestone quarry into one of the world's most beloved gardens. Her family still cares for it today, preserving her vision. On Vancouver Island near Victoria, the gardens now cover 55 acres. From the quarry's rough edges, layered beds of flowers erupt with color. Paths wind through shady nooks where streams whisper and moss clings to stones. Formal beds, mirrored ponds, and careful stonework frame each view. One circular garden holds hundreds of roses. They bloom in neat rows, every plant labeled, each scent adding to the air. Walking here feels like moving through a living painting, soft, precise, and full of life. Number 6. Claude Monet's Garden. Monet's house and gardens at Giverny also feel like stepping into a painting. Monet, a founder of Impressionism, lived here from 1883 until 1926. He called these grounds his most beautiful masterpiece. The gardens gave him endless scenes to paint. Some of his most famous works, including the Water Lily series and the Japanese bridge paintings, were created here. The garden is divided into two distinct parts. Clos Normand sits in front of the pink and green house. Straight paths run under iron arches, and climbing roses wrap the arches in soft color. Beds of tulips, irises, poppies, peonies, and dahlias press close together. Colors blend freely. Plants rise in layered heights rather than in neat hedges, creating a wild, living palette. Across the road, an underpass leads to the water garden. This quieter, more reflective space centers on a pond filled with floating water lilies. A green-arched Japanese footbridge crosses the pond, its rails draped in wisteria. Weeping willows and stands of bamboo lean toward the water. Monet arranged these plantings to evoke mood more than order. He painted this scene again and again in his Water Lilies series. Walking through Giverny, you move through the views that helped shape modern art. The light, the colors, and the gentle disorder still feel like a living painting. Number 5. Mirabell Palace Gardens. Mirabell Palace and its gardens sit at the heart of Salzburg like a storybook. Built in 1606 by Prince Archbishop Wolf Dietrich von Reitenau for his mistress Salome Alt, the palace was originally called Schloss Altenau. The gardens are arranged in clean geometric beds that look like paintings from above. Grand fountains burst and spray, casting rainbows in the sun. Marble statues drawn from myth line the paths. From here you can see Hohensalzburg Fortress rising on the hill, a dark silhouette against the sky. Film fans will recognize the Pegasus Fountain, the pool where Maria and the children danced in The Sound of Music. Nearby, the Grand Fountain features statues that represent the four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. A quirky corner called the Dwarf Garden holds marble dwarf statues, each with its own odd expression. The Rose Garden blooms with bright color and scent. Walk slowly here. The place feels cut from a film, timeless, tender, and perfectly framed. Today, the entire site is a protected monument and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Number 4. International Rose Test Garden. The International Rose Test Garden is in Washington Park in Portland, Oregon. It opened in 1917 and has been blooming ever since, with more than 10,000 rose bushes representing about 650 varieties. From April through October, the beds change, and peak color usually arrives in June. Breeders from around the world send new roses here for trials. Gardeners evaluate each variety for disease resistance, bloom shape, color, and scent, results that helped Portland earn the nickname City of Roses. Walk the paths and the garden feels calm and almost secret. You pass the Shakespeare Garden, where old poems seem to drift among the blooms, and the Royal Rosarian Garden honoring the city's rose ambassadors. The Gold Medal Garden displays the winners in neat rows. On clear days, Mount Hood rises behind the garden, its snowy cone looming over the city and providing a dramatic backdrop to the petals below. The contrast makes the colors pop, and the view feel larger than the park itself. People come to soak in the colors and scents. Photographers come for the wide views. For a few quiet minutes, the city slows, and the roses keep watch. Number 3. Chanticleer Garden. Chanticleer feels like a private dream open to the public. Set on 50 acres in Wayne, Pennsylvania, it began as the Rosengarten family estate and today ranks among America's most imaginative pleasure gardens. Walk across the terraces and sweeping lawns. Watch gardeners shape scenes where leaves and texture often outshine blooms. Plants are paired for color, form, and movement rather than only for show. The Chanticleer house anchors the garden. From there, paths fan out into distinct green rooms, woodland trails that slip into quiet shade, a former tennis court transformed into a garden, and a cutting garden overflowing with blooms for bouquets. A still pond holds water lilies, and the ruins garden feels haunting and poetic. You will see the garden's hands-on spirit everywhere. Staff turn fallen trees into chairs, benches, and bridges. Even drinking fountains serve as small sculptures. Since opening to the public in 1993, Chanticleer has been a living lab. Designers and horticulturists experiment with bold plant pairings and playful compositions, favoring creativity over strict rules or passing trends. The result is a place to relax, learn, and leave with fresh ideas for your own garden. Number 2. Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden. Like a jewel set against a towering crown, Kirstenbosch glows on the eastern slopes of Table Mountain. The garden opens like a secret when you step inside, wild and carefully arranged at the same time. Paths wind through lawns, pockets of mountain forest, and planted beds. A curved steel and timber canopy bridge rises above the trees, giving visitors a bird's-eye view of the greenery below. Kirstenbosch began in 1913 with a bold idea: protect and showcase South Africa's native plants. It was one of the first botanic gardens devoted to a single country's flora, and that mission still guides it today. The garden holds more than 7,000 species, many rare or threatened. Bright proteas stand like living sculptures, while vast sweeps of fynbos ripple across the slopes and rocks. The mountain presses close on one side, and the land opens on the other. Lawns invite picnics, and shaded paths lead into pockets of natural forest. The whole place covers about 528 hectares, a mix of managed gardens and wild ground, where careful stewardship meets nature's rough beauty. Kirstenbosch is more than a garden. It is a living reserve, a center for plant science, and a refuge for rare species. Rules such as no smoking and no fires help this fragile life thrive. Walk slowly, and you begin to hear how the garden keeps a country's plant story alive. Number 1. Shinjuku Gyoen. Like a silk painting coming to life, Shinjuku Gyoen spreads across the heart of Tokyo. This peaceful oasis covers 58.3 hectares, a green shelter in the city's rush. Once the home of an Edo period lord, and later an imperial garden, it still carries quiet echoes of the past. Enter the Japanese garden, and you meet calm water and koi slipping beneath the surface. Stone bridges arc over ponds. Small pavilions sit with quiet grace. The place makes you slow your breath. The English garden feels open and free. Wide lawns roll under tall trees where people picnic, read, or lie back and watch the sky. The French garden is all order and symmetry. Paths lead past geometric rose borders, hundreds of varieties arranged like music on a score. Spring is the big show. Over 900 cherry trees from more than 70 species flood the park with pale pink and white. From late March to mid-April, Shinjuku Gyoen is one of Tokyo's best hanami spots. Crowds gather beneath the trees, cameras click, and tea and laughter float through the air. Summer turns the garden lush and deep green. Autumn brings maples that flare red and gold, and roses bloom again. Winter is quiet and spare. Frost dusts the paths, and greenhouses shelter tropical life. Shinjuku Gyoen has many gardens in one. Walk slowly, and each corner will tell you a new story.